Hey guys, Cinza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands beta video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the different warrior legendaries. So all of the current, at least, warrior legendaries are in the game. They might be adjusted, but there are 4 for each spec and 4 general ones, just like we've been seeing lately. And I'm just using one of them right now that gives you kind of a haste buff. And when I talk about the legendaries, I'm going to talk about some of the good synergies that can happen, and especially for this one and how it can be better. But also, if you haven't noticed, that I'm using single-minded fury. So I don't. It's been a while since I played in the Shadowlands Alpha and Beta on Warrior, but when I last played, they didn't have single-minded fury, and now they do. Which is just, for anybody that didn't know, lets you dual wield one-hand weapons. But anyway, to the legendaries now. So I'm gonna go over the first. I'm gonna start with the fury legendaries. So the first one we have is when recklessness expires, your critical strike is increased by 5% for 5 seconds, and your raging blow will refresh the duration of this effect. So basically you get increased crit after your main cooldown, recklessness expires, and you can kind of keep that going. Basically, you can kind of keep a 5%, I believe. Yeah, pretty much you can keep that 5% crit up going for quite a while, because you can refresh with Raging Blow. And then Bloodthirst is what I was just using in combat. Bloodthirst increases your haste by 2% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Now, currently at this stage of haste, the cooldown of Bloodthirst is like 4.3 seconds. So this legendary kind of directly depends on, I think, how much haste you already have, because right now it's actually kind of hard to keep that up. Unless, I mean, if you're in a boss fight or something, you can, as long as you don't miss, as long as you get Bloodthirst off as soon as it comes off cooldown. But if you don't, then you could miss that and then lose the stack. But it's kind of nice because there is a talent called Frenzy, where Rampage increases your haste by 3% and stacks to 3 times. So they do, they are separate applications. So you can get the haste from Rampage and the haste from Bloodthirst to get like 17% total extra haste added. And if you can get your Bloodthirst cooldown to be like below 4 seconds, it'll be a little bit easier to keep that haste up. So that's a legendary that I think will literally depend on how how able how much you're able to actually keep that haste bonus up, and then as you get more haste throughout the expansion, that'll become a better legendary, I think. And then Rampage has a 25% chance to apply Siegebreaker. I think that's really cool because Siegebreaker is a pretty nice ability, and it'd be nice to get that Siegebreaker buff without actually going into Siegebreaker. And then finally we have Rampage critical strikes will reduce the recklessness and enrage regeneration cooldown by 3 seconds. So something we've been seeing with at least the Fury legendaries, they all, except for one of them, kind of involve secondary stats. So the stat priority could change depending on which legendary you're using, and then of course your talents and conduits, because warrior have their conduits in. So either execute or condemn is increased crit chance. So you can have a legendary that'll increase your crit chance, like recklessness, and then that might be better to use. So you might want crit more, or if you use the haste one, you might want haste more. So, and then like for this one, you would want more crit. So it's kind of interesting to see how that'll work. Now, haste and crit will still probably end up being top priority anyway, but you might want one more than the other. Now for the general legendaries, we have activating Bladestorm, Recklessness, or Avatar will randomly cast one of the other 2 abilities. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that real quick, just so you can kind of see. So I cast Recklessness, and then it gave me Avatar. So, that's kind of cool. And it could have given me Bladestorm as well. So, yeah, that's kind of a cool one to use. And then we have Spell Reflection. Sorry. Spell Reflection will last 200% longer and apply to your party. So that's kind of nice because it reduces magical damage taken. So as a DPS, that's not going to help you that much. But if you're a tank, for instance, or if you just really need some more party utility at the expense of damage, then yeah, you can make your entire party reduce magical damage. And then we have Heroic Leap gaining 2 charges. That's always going to be good to use in like the open world. And then if Whirlwind hits 3 or more enemies, it'll hit them an additional time. And so then for tank, we have the first intercepted attack grants you ignore pain and makes your next revenge cost no rage. And then we have each enemy hit with Thunderclap reduces the remaining cooldown demoralizing shout. That could be a pretty good one. Shield Slam regenerates an additional 2 rage and reduces the remaining cooldown of Shield Wall by 4 seconds. And then finally, your Shield Wall ability now grants 50% of its effect to all party members. So another, team-based utility that's not necessarily increasing your stuff, but it helps the party out. And finally, for arms, we've got Execute will cause the target to take 25% more damage from your next Mortal Strike, stacking up to 2 times. I remember this from Legion. I think it was a set bonus from the Antorus raid. It's a really nice bonus. Slam has a 30% chance to reset the cooldown of Mortal Strike. That could be pretty useful. And then we have Mortal Strike has a 15% chance to apply the Colossus Smash effect for 5 seconds, so it's kind of like the Fury Rampage one, except for it's 15% instead of 25%. I mean, Colossus Smash is huge for for arms, so being able to get that bonus is really good. And then finally we have, while Blade Storm is active, you automatically cast a total of 2 Mortal Strikes at random nearby enemies. I remember that too. I think that was also in Legion, or maybe it was a legendary or something, but yeah. Some pretty good legendaries here. And then now we have the conduits as well. So I'm liking Warrior. I don't know yet where I would rate it on my list of which ones I would want to main, but yeah, there are some definitely interesting ones. I really am interested in going this haste route, using like Bloodthirst and combining that with Frenzy, maybe trying a single-minded Fury for faster, attacks. To really just see how fast, you can go with all that haste. I think that would be really good, especially earlier in the expansion when you want that extra haste. But that's all for the legendaries for Warrior for the current Shadowlands beta. If you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching.